everybody. How's it going? This is Big Larry here, Jack's Private Coffee Corner. And today is November 3rd. It's a Sunday. This is my crypto update. Not much has happened the last few days in cryptos. Had some excitement at the end of last week, which I'll go over, just kind of to recap everything. And then I'll give an update on what I think is going on in the first part of November here. I'm going to do it a little differently today. You know, I normally pick out some news articles, tell you what I think's going on, but there hasn't been much going on, so I'm not going to have any news articles today. I'm going to talk about gold and silver just a little bit. There was someone who asked me about that in the comments on one of my videos, previous videos. And I've been kind of a lazy slug. I haven't talked about it yet, so I thought I'll talk about it today. I don't really have so much to say. Move my camera here a little bit. I don't have so much to say about it, but I'll get into that. Okay, so I'm going to talk about crypto prices a little bit. Maybe give you some recommendations on cryptos I think would be good. And then I'll talk about gold and silver. Okay, so let's get gold and silver out of the way. Now, more than 10 years ago, I studied gold and silver for about a year, real seriously. You know, I went into, you know, who are the mining companies? How much are they pulling out of the ground? You know, how does that affect market price? And it didn't take me long to realize that this whole thing was really messed up, really messed up. There's incredible manipulation that is occurring, and I could not figure out why gold is more expensive than silver, because it seemed to me there's a ton of gold in the earth, and there's less silver, and yet the price of silver is much less than gold. So, of all that studying, you know, all the different avenues I went off on. Tangents I went off on, you know, things in the market, and oh, this person has this advice and this person has this system for figuring out, you know, when gold and silver are going to spike, when it's going to drop down, how you should buy this stuff. I came to the conclusion that there has to be massive manipulation in those precious metal markets. There just has to be, because if you look at all the information and you have a little bit of common sense and a slight bit of intelligence to think about things, the only conclusion you can come to is that it's heavily, heavily manipulated. A few takeaways. Well, a number of years ago, I worked for a company that sold diamonds. They sold other gemstones, you know, precious, semi-precious stuff. But diamonds was their main thing. And interestingly enough, in that job, now when I got that job, I had already had some training as a jeweler. I had 3-4 years of working with a professional jeweler and learning all kinds of techniques. I can actually, I'm actually able to, you know, we could go back 600-700 years in Europe on different techniques that were used in different countries to make jewelry, and I can explain to you how to make those things, how to do it. And I'm even, you know, versed in some kind of advanced techniques for joining gold and silver together without the use of solder. So if anyone has any knowledge about jewelry making, and if you just listen to what I said, you'll understand, like, oh wow, okay, that's more than just the basic information you would gain at a university class or something, right? So I have a pretty good knowledge about jewelry making, how things are put together, and from that I understand, you know, how jewelers buy their gold and what kind of prices they get it at and whatnot, gold and silver. Okay, so fast forward, then I'm working for a diamond company, and I find out that the whole diamond market is a scam. You know, because when you work at a company where you buy and sell diamonds, eventually, if you're lucky, you know, I went through a training course with this company, a 1-year training course. I got to meet people who actually went to Belgium to some of these diamond exchanges and bought diamonds, and they would deal with the people who were bringing diamonds from Africa. And there's this family De Beers. Some people say it's like the diamond mafia. They control the supply of diamonds in the world. Well, maybe to an extent they do. I'm not sure. I'm not there in that industry anymore. So this is just, things I heard from people in the industry. And I was told that, diamonds aren't rare at all. Not at all. In fact, I guess there was a period, I can't remember how many years ago now. I actually don't want to say because I don't want to give too much information away about my background, but someone who was kind of sharp could piece things together here. Anyway, there was a time, probably, close to 20 years ago, where the diamond or the jewelry market, we'll say the diamond market, it was flooded with Russian diamonds, and they were all 1/2 of a carat and less. So the market was flooded with those diamonds, and it dropped the prices down about 80%. And a lot of people who had purchased, large amounts of diamonds for their retail businesses prior to this, they got hit pretty hard, because let's say you spent $100,000 on 1/2 carat and less diamonds that you were hoping to sell, and now the market gets flooded with all these diamonds from Russia, and now your 100,000 is worth 20,000. So that would be a pretty big hit for a lot of people. And then when I did some later digging on this, I found out that, Russia probably has way more diamonds than Africa does. So that's just, one kind of side story there, which is an example of the manipulation that occurs. And, there's a lot of marketing involved too, right? Diamonds are forever. There's all these things telling, society that diamonds are worth something. If you're going to get married, a guy should spend how many months' salary on a diamond for his wife, all this kind of stuff. So I was able to find out firsthand, so to speak, that diamonds have, very, very little value. Not the value we think they do. They're quite a common stone. Now, let's get to gold and silver, because they're kind of part of the same thing. Precious metals, right? Gold and silver. Okay, so I spent a year just hitting the books, studying all I could about precious metals. And one thing that stood out to me was that people had done research on the prices. And if you went back 1,000 years, and did like a historical study on the value of gold versus silver, you find out that there's this number, kind of a magic number, 20 to 1. I know people have different numbers. They say, it should be 30 to 1 or 50 to 1 or 15 to 1. From my research, it was 20 to 1. There are times, when gold's price went up and came down, but if you took an average over those 1,000 years, there was this magic number of 20 to 1. So 20 ounces of silver would equal 1 ounce of gold as far as a value was concerned. And this was through numerous countries and numerous parts of the world, that this 20 to 1 ratio always came back to that number. That was like the mean, the average that, went through that 1,000 years. Well, of course, now we don't have 20 to 1, nothing close to it. And I know there are some people in the precious metal space who talk about, it's at this number now, it's a great chance to buy. And then when it, changes back to this number, then you should switch back and buy gold and whatever. So understanding this huge manipulation and doing the research I did, I just thought to myself, this isn't something I want to get into, this gold and silver. There's the old story. Some people attribute this story to Warren Buffett, and I've actually read sources that had a story even before, Warren Buffett could have said this. But anyway, it's either Warren Buffett or it's not, I don't know. But basically the idea is that if you sit down to play poker and you look around the guys at the table, the guys or the gals, whoever's there. When I say guys, I don't mean just males. Could be females included, you know. So if you look around the guys at the table, if you don't know who the sucker is, guess what? You're the sucker, right? And everybody will know that. And that's why many times in life, when you get involved with something, I think stocks are a fantastic example. When you get into stocks, man, you are the sucker. You know, you're going to have your money taken away from you by the pros. It's nothing different than playing poker, all right? So it's the same with precious metals. How are you going to compete with that manipulation? You know, there are people with tremendous amounts of resources that are moving the price this way or that way. You have no idea what's going on. You're just like one tiny little person hoping to make money with precious metals, and you're going to get slammed hard, right? So for that reason, I was not interested in getting into precious metals. Now, I did understand that gold was going to go up because, as you may have gathered through some of my videos, I often get messages from my spirit guides. Sometimes they are extremely accurate, timely messages. I don't think I've talked about some of the biggest messages I've gotten, which one was to leave Japan by a certain date. And I did leave Japan, and then 2 months later was that March 11th, 2011 huge earthquake / tidal wave / nuclear meltdown in Fukushima. So I had my spirit guides told me about that. They started telling me a year before the event. A year before the event, gave me detailed information on get out of Japan, do this, do that. And I had like a comfortable life here. You know, I had things set up. I had a house, I had cars, I had a business, you know, a huge network of friends and colleagues. So, but I listened and I picked up and I moved to a different country. That's how I got to Malaysia. So anyway, and I'm back in Japan now. Interesting, huh? How many years later? Now it's about 9 years later. So anyway, I've had very good information from my spirit guides and I trust them. Okay, so I was told a number of years ago, buy gold, buy gold, buy gold. You have to buy gold. It was so tough to buy gold here. I didn't know anything about it. You know, my wife is Japanese. I had her check. She couldn't find anywhere. And this is when the internet wasn't really that big. You know, in the States, people have had computers and they've used the internet for much, much longer than Japan. People have this image that Japan is an advanced society and, you know, everyone's way ahead of, the Japanese are ahead of the rest of us in the world when it comes to technology and technological advancements. That's all bullshit, okay? You have to know that right now. And these days, when I'm talking, you know, looking for gold, the average Japanese did not have an email address. They all used their cell phones. They were tied into their cell phones in these expensive cell phone contracts. So everyone sent text messages. There was no emailing. I can remember giving my email address to people and never getting emails. And they'd say, well, I don't have an email address, sorry. They'd tell me after the fact that I was waiting for their response from, you know, by email. So anyway, couldn't find it. Eventually, my wife found a few companies. They would sell me gold, but they would not give me the physical gold. They would just give me a piece of paper saying I had bought gold from them. I didn't want that. Those were my only options in those days. At that time, gold was $250 an ounce. So I had an idea how high gold was going to go. I figured it would hit 1,000, so I really wanted to get in on this $250 thing. I couldn't. It was frustrating as hell, you know. I finally gave up. Well, as we know, gold went up to $1,200, you know, which is something I knew. I just did not know how to. I wanted the physical gold in my hands. Okay, so that was a great chance. Wasn't able to take advantage of it. Well, then it wasn't long after that my spirit guides were telling me, actually, you want to get silver. You want to get silver because silver has certain properties for healing. It has certain healing properties, And once people figure this out, they're going to start using silver in all kinds of medical processes, you know, things to do with like bandages or healing or surgeries or whatever. And then they said farther in the future, silver will be used in such a way that it will change society forever. You got to remember, this is being told to me by my spirit guide, so you know it gets into quite a woo-woo type thing. So I sat on that information. I did not buy any silver. Well, I think about a year later, Cliff High, you know Cliff High, the Webbot reports, right? The old grumpy bastard with a beard, balding. Super cool guy, does Aikido, right? Cliff is actually one of my heroes. Cliff and George Carlin. George Carlin was my hero. Cliff High is my hero. So anyway, Cliff High, in one of his reports, or maybe it was an interview, I can't remember because I followed him pretty seriously for a number of years, said, oh, there's some information that silver will be used for some kind of devices, you know. And I don't remember offhand exactly all that entailed, but I remember hearing that information or reading it and like just literally having to stop, like I had just been, you know, punched in the face. And it's like, oh my God, my spirit guides told me this exact same information. Well, for me, that was confirmation enough. So then I searched, you know, like a feverish mongoose, and I was able to find a place to get silver, physical silver. So if you're asking me, what do I think, gold or silver, which one is best? Absolutely, I think silver is best, just because I believe there will be some tremendous implications for humans, positive implications for humans in the future in regards to silver. The price of silver is pretty cheap. And gold, I don't know. I just feel like gold is so heavily manipulated that I don't want to even participate in the whole thing. I know silver is also, but I can see past the manipulation and understand that silver will be used for much more than what it's being used for now, and maybe that's already happened. You hear that? The phone is talking. Yeah, you can program your phone, you know, your landline phone, you can program it to tell you when certain people are calling. Isn't that fun? That's Japan. Okay, I'm just going to stop this because I'm sitting Japanese style here and my legs have fallen asleep. Just a second. Okay, I'm back here sitting Indian style. Oh, remember, you know, Indian style when you were a kid in school, you had to sit this way with your legs kind of crossed like that, you know? Oh man, my legs have fallen asleep. Okay, so gold and silver. I prefer silver personally because, like I said, I believe in the future that something extremely positive will come from the use of silver, and that will create that'll increase the price in fiat currency, basically. So I like silver. Gold, I'm not so interested, because I don't see those same positive benefits coming out of gold that I do silver. Now, I did at one time have a series of dreams where I went back to ancient Egypt. I'll say dreams. Maybe they were like well, I don't want to say it was a different reality, because I really felt like I was going back in time and seeing ancient Egypt. And you know, they had this group of people, I would imagine we would call them aliens. And they lived in the pyramids. Not always, but I believe they like the pyramids, how can I say it? What's that company now? What's that company you can like come and rent someone's sofa or rent a room in someone's house? You know what I'm talking about, right? So it was like the pyramids were like a hotel room or a resort for these non-terrestrial beings, these aliens, right? They seemed to look like us. They were quite nice looking people from what I can remember from my dreams. And they wore tremendous amounts of gold. They had tremendous amounts of gold on their body, you know, things that fit around their arms and beautiful necklaces and headpieces and all this stuff. And they had all of this gold. and I'm guessing it was like 24 karat or close to 24 karat, because just the look of the yellow look of the metal, you know. If you ever had a chance to see a lot of 24 karat gold, you'll remember it. And if you've ever lived in Asia or traveled in Asia like I have, a lot of places will sell, they don't sell 14 karat gold because that's considered kind of crappy. I know in the States, if you buy jewelry, it'll be what, 10 karat gold or 14 karat gold. In Asia, they wouldn't even mess with that. It's either 18 karat, 22, or 24 karat from what I've seen for gold, right? The look is just so nice. Anyway, so these beings had all these gold like ornamentations on their body, and then they would be inside the pyramid, and from what I could gather is, you know, regular humans would come in there who were sick or had ailments or whatever, and then these beings would heal people. And it seems to me that this gold might have been an important part of the healing process. I don't know if gold was simply, you know, the energy of these beings was channeled into the gold, or the gold amplified their healing abilities and people were healed. But I remember having a series of dreams about that, and I've always wondered, what's going on with gold here? Was it really the gold, or was it the aliens healing them? Because I have not heard anything anywhere of people talking about gold being used to heal people. Although now, you know, I just told you I had this this information from my spirit guides about silver being used for healing. It was about 5-6 years later that I started to hear stuff about, oh yeah, you know, silver is good for healing wounds. And now when you buy Band-Aids, what do they call them? Plasters, and in British English, maybe, I forget. Anyway, you know, Band-Aids, if you have a cut on your arm, you put this thing on it, right, to keep it clean. Well, now a lot of those Band-Aids have silver, like some kind of silverized, I don't know if it's a liquid silver they spray on there or how they do it, but it'll say, oh, it's got silver on here. It will improve healing. And I have some friends in the medical industry who've told me they have different things now they use for surgery, where they're like this liquid silver spray that they spray on wounds and stuff to clean, you know, to clean things up after surgery, to make sure no infection gets in there. I don't think this is everywhere, but I've heard about it, so that's pretty fascinating, right? So that actually has come true. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about silver and gold, because I could go on forever about this. Okay, so I hope you get the gist of what I'm thinking about silver and gold. And thank you to the person who asked me that question. Okay, let's move on to cryptos. Cryptos got pretty interesting around, let's see, the 26th. Up until October 25th, they weren't doing much. Well, I shouldn't say they weren't doing much. From my data, which I'm looking at here on my computer screen, all cryptos were gaining against Bitcoin. And you know, I like to have Bitcoin, check the price of Bitcoin against the price of other cryptos. And I'm not so interested in the fiat currency value. I'm more interested in how are all of these coins in this basket that I'm looking at, how has their value changed in relation to the value of Bitcoin. Now, I know when I say value, what I'm talking about is the fiat price. Okay, so we do look at Bitcoin in fiat currency, in dollars. For example, on October 25th, I have that Bitcoin was $7,500. Okay, so we do need to use fiat currency to establish that. And then of course I'm looking at this basket of currencies at their fiat prices. But I want to know, has the value of these coins gone up or down in relation to the price, the value of Bitcoin? And I can see that up until the 25th, there was a number of days, maybe 5-6 days, all of the coins in my basket were slowly gaining strength on Bitcoin. And like I said, on the 25th of October, Bitcoin was 7,500. Now, we jump to the 26th, now the price of Bitcoin went from the previous day it was 7,500. Now it's 9,853 on the 26th of October. So Bitcoin jumped, from my estimation, 31%. That's a huge jump. But Bitcoin Cash jumped 26%. So when I look at the value, let's see. So I can see that, yeah, it went up 26%, but then I can also look at another part of my chart that I have saying, it actually, Bitcoin Cash lost value against Bitcoin on the by the 26th, because you could buy more Bitcoin Cash on the 26th with 1 Bitcoin than you could have the day before, even though the fiat currency price of Bitcoin Cash went up 26%. So you've got to look at both of these to get a clear picture of what's happening. Same thing on the 26th. Bitcoin Cash was not the only thing to jump. NEO jumped 26%. So NEO and Bitcoin Cash were leading the pack on the 26th. Okay, now let's move to the 27th. I just want to give a recap here. Now by the 27th, all the cryptos in my basket were down in price. They were all in negative territory. However, NEO was up 8.5% on the 27th. That's from the 26th. And then we fast forward to the 28th. What happened? NEO's up 21%, another 21%. Bitcoin at this point is only up 2%. So NEO is just kicking butt on everybody else. Then I jump ahead from the 28th to the 30th, and I can see that NEO is now down. NEO is finally down 7%, but it made tremendous gains. And now OMG, let's see, OMG is starting to take off. Well, if you remember correctly, way back in July, I picked 3 coins that I was watching like a hawk, that I was trading on: NEO, OMG, and Tezos. And I focused on NEO and OMG. If you remember correctly, I have a video about it. Why? Because my spirit guide said to me, hey, start doing these 3 coins. You won't regret it. Okay, I'm going to listen, right? So I'm watching these things like a hawk. Now, I didn't tell anybody that in my videos because, because it's my information. However, although I didn't tell everybody, hey, my spirit guide said to watch these 3 coins, you guys should too, I did say to everyone, hey, look at the price of NEO. NEO is at this price. This is a good time to buy. I did recommend those 3 coins to everyone. All right. Now, I have to give a disclaimer, which I do every time. This is not financial advice. I'm not a professional investor. I'm just talking out of my ass. However, when I'm saying, this might be good, or I really recommend this coin, that's about the strongest recommendation I can give to someone without crossing the line and giving financial advice, because I don't give financial advice. I'm not a financial expert. However, I'm trying my damnedest to give you guys hints so that you understand what I'm saying and you can pick up on this. Okay, so possibly the way around all of this would be for me to create a Patreon channel where I could actually come out and say, hey, although this is not financial advice, if I was you, I would do this. That might be the way to go. So maybe a Patreon channel where I can give much more detailed advice, much more specific advice is the way to go. Okay, let me get back to this. So OMG. OMG wasn't doing much until the 28th of October, end of last month. But from the 27th to the 28th, OMG went up 12% in the fiat currency price, and it really gained strength against Bitcoin on that day. Up until that time, it was gaining strength on Bitcoin over a number of days, but the price in fiat currency was still down. It was going down and down. This day it jumps 12%, the 28th. Fast forward to the 30th, it's up 9%. All of the other coins in my basket were either down or only getting like, let's see, 2 and 3% increases. NEO had 9.6, and on that day, Bitcoin Cash had 10%. So OMG was looking really, really good, really strong back then. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a recap because those are things I had recommended to everyone. I don't know if you understood I was recommending them, but that's what was occurring. Okay, now let's look at today. Let's see, I've got to change my chart. I put November 2nd, but it's actually the 3rd. Okay, doesn't matter. Looking at things today, Bitcoin is at 9,332. That's just what it was when I put this chart together earlier this morning. So the big price of Bitcoin is down 1% from 2 days ago when I was last charting this. What's looking good today? Well, let me just, if some of you are not familiar with what I'm doing here, I have a basket of cryptocurrencies that I follow. It's Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, XRP, EOS, Stellar, Cardano, NEO, Tezos, OMG, Digibyte, and Theta. And I just added Digibyte and Theta about 4 days ago because it was just kind of a personal thing for me, but I realized there are more people who have Digibyte and Theta than I thought, so I'm going to include it. And I'm glad I did, and you'll see why in a couple minutes here. Okay, so getting back to this, so I've got my basket of cryptocurrencies. So I'm looking at how these cryptos are doing versus Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin. Well, 3 of them really stand out for good reasons. We got Bitcoin Cash. No, let me go from order of strength. Sorry, let me jump down to Stellar. Stellar has gained on Bitcoin, so it's gotten stronger versus Bitcoin, and the price has gone up, the fiat currency price has gone up 7% in the last 2 days. So Stellar, for whatever reason, has gotten kind of a spike. It's looking strong. Next, my buddy NEO. NEO is up to, it's up 4%, 4.2% from what it was 2 days ago. Now, since I put these numbers on my chart, I have to say I went back and looked at NEO again, because NEO is one of those coins you could day trade on it. Personally, I think you could day trade on it. And maybe someone I know whose name rhymes with big hair does day trade on it. Possibly. Okay. So, and it's down like it was at 11.22 when I put my chart together. Now I believe it's down to 10 something. 10, I forget. But I remember thinking like, wow, I could have just made 25 cents per NEO in a very short time. But it's still up. NEO is up 4%, and it's up against Bitcoin. So it's gotten stronger versus Bitcoin, and its fiat currency price has increased. So that's looking strong. And then Bitcoin Cash is my third one. It's up almost 4%. It's gained strength against Bitcoin. So those are 3 solid coins, looking very good. And now, maybe some of you are asking, well, are you telling us we should buy these coins? Because I don't give advice, I wouldn't say, you should do this or that. It's up to you. One of the things is, yeah, I really need to make a Patreon channel, because then I could explain my system to everybody. There's a couple things you have to know when deciding if you should buy a coin or not. And if you do have the coin, then there's also a few things you have to know before you can sell your coin to do it the right way. So Patreon is looking good. Just because it would give me a chance to spend more time going into detail, and then you'd really understand things. It's not a difficult system. It's quite simple. The one that I use, it's just one that I made up. Well, if NEO has dipped down, no, I would say these 3 coins, no. They're strong now. I wouldn't recommend buying them. Although I think I bought Stellar in the beginning when it was like over 11 cents. So if I consider that, like now it's at 7 cents. Yeah, that'd be a good deal, right? And possibly if this uptrend continues, you could buy Stellar now at 7 and make a little money. Okay, Neo is a coin I always recommend, because if you buy it right, you know, you could make money on it within 24 hours. You know, not always, because you do have those days where it makes huge jumps like it did last week, right? 26% in one day, and then what was it, 15 or 16% the next day. I know there were some articles out there saying Neo gained 35%, but I don't know the time frame that person was using. I'm looking at things day by day. Although my current chart, I skipped a day because yesterday was Saturday and I wasn't around. So it's just easier for me to put in today's data. Okay. Or actually 3 days, because I went from October 30th. Yeah, October 30th. Or was it the 31st? I think I put my video out on Halloween. Yeah, it was Halloween, wasn't it? Or it was the day before Halloween. Okay, the 30th. Yeah, 30th, sorry. Okay, and Bitcoin Cash at 300, is that a good deal? You have to decide that. So I think Neo, it's always a good time to get Neo. Stellar could be a good buy. You know, like I said, someone like myself got it for 11 cents, and you can get it for 7, and it's gaining strength now. Maybe. Okay, but if I had to recommend 3 things right now, I would recommend OMG, Digibyte, and Theta. Why? Well, they've gotten weaker against Bitcoin. Gotten weaker. And their prices are down in fiat currency. Let's see. OMG is down 5.5%. Digibyte's down 5.4%. Theta is down 6.4%. So Theta's at 9 cents. Now I know it was as low as what, 6 or 7 cents a while ago, but you know, it was holding over 10 cents for a long time. So if you could buy in at this price, I don't think you'll be too bad off. The same with Digibyte. Digibyte is not even a penny yet. It's 7/10 of a penny. Holy crap, are you kidding me? This is Digibyte. 7/10 of a penny. It's losing value against Bitcoin. Its price has gone down 5%. That seems like a recommendation, doesn't it? Okay, and then OMG, same thing. OMG has really gone down in value against Bitcoin. That's down, like I said, 5.5% at 98 cents. OMG is another coin. If you watch it, you can really get some nice profits out of it on a daily basis, right? But you just have to decide, is OMG at 98 cents a good buy or not? I got OMG originally, I don't know how long ago it was a lot more than 98. So for me, this is like a no-brainer. Only because I've seen the price patterns on it, I've taken advantage of the price patterns, so I know that, yeah, you get in on OMG at 98, you can start making money right away. That sounds like a recommendation, doesn't it? It's not financial advice, but it's a recommendation. Okay, so I would recommend those 3. OMG, Digibyte, and Theta. And the 3 strongest coins in my basket, Bitcoin Cash, Stellar, and Neo. So you may not want to purchase those, but like I said, if you think the current price is low, as a very good entry price, go for it, you know. Keep an eye on it. Okay, so the three that I recommend, OMG, Digibyte, and Theta. Okay, and then the other 3 are strong, and I don't necessarily recommend those, but I just want you to be aware of what's happening with their price in fiat currency and their value against, did you hear that? Their value against Bitcoin. I'm doing this right in the front room here, big window, kind of a busy street in front. Once in a while you get a guy who rides a Harley by here. That's kind of fun, huh? Okay, so hopefully you understood what I was saying there. That is my my crypto update, along with precious metals in the beginning there, gold and silver. And today is November 3rd. It's Sunday. It's a little afternoon today. I got to get out and do something here, huh? It's a little cloudy. This weekend is a 3-day weekend in Japan. Tomorrow is Monday is a national holiday, and I forget why that is, but yay. Okay, you guys, take care. If you have any free time, spend it with your family, your loved ones. Have a cup of your favorite drink, whether that's coffee or tea or what is that stuff, kombucha or whatever. I don't know, whatever you like to drink. Take some time out of your day, relax, and spend it with the people you love. If you have not, hit the like button, smash up that like button, leave me a comment, and if you're not a subscriber, maybe you should subscribe. You know, there might be something interesting here. I don't talk about only cryptos. I also talk about woo-woo stuff. Once in a while I talk about coffee talk. Coffee talk, what's that? Well, it's the things we all talk about in life with our friends and family, different topics that we find interesting. Okay, everyone, you take care.